Hi, this is Melissa with Fox and Fig Knits. Today I'm going to show you how you can work an I-cord bind off 3 ways in the round with an invisible seam. I've got a swatch here and we're going to go ahead and pretend that I'm working in the round. So let's work these stitches until I get to my marker. Now I'm at the beginning of round, so I will remove my marker. Now we're going to begin our I-cord with the stitches on our left needle. Go ahead and knit these first 3 foundation stitches. Keep in mind that your I-cord instructions may call for additional stitches. Let's pause here and grab our tapestry needle threaded with waste yarn. Go ahead and slip these stitches back to your left needle. Sorry this is off camera, but all I'm doing here is slipping the stitches. Now we're going to pick up our tapestry needle and go ahead and thread the yarn through those 3 stitches. Go ahead and tie those waste yarn ends together loosely so they don't fall out of your work. Now that our setup is complete, we're going to start the I-cord. Knit the first 2 stitches. Next, we're going to knit the next 2 stitches together through the back loop. That's the next I-cord stitch and the first stitch on hold waiting for bind off. Slip these 3 stitches back to your left needle. Now we will repeat the pattern. Knit 2 and knit 2 together through the back loop. Again, the final I-cord stitch and the first stitch waiting to be bound off. Here you can see our I-cord starting to form. Now let's try another method. Knit 2, and instead of doing a knit 2 together, we're going to go ahead and slip this next stitch, knit the first stitch waiting to be bound off, and then pass that slipped stitch over. Let's slip those stitches back to the left needle and do this again. Knit 2, slip this next stitch, knit the stitch on the left needle, and then pass the slipped stitch over. You can see the I-cord looks basically the same. Let's pass these stitches back to the left needle and look at our next method, which is basically the same as the last one, only now we're going to make it stretchy. So we're going to knit the first 2 stitches, slip the next stitch, make a yarn over, knit the stitch on the left needle, and then pass the yarn over and the slip stitch together over the last stitch. You can use any of these 3 methods for your bind off. Okay, here I am pretending to work in the round. Let's quickly bind off this last stitch and get back to the beginning of round with the stitches held on waste yarn. Next, we're going to slide our stitches down to the opposite end of the needle. We're going to cut our yarn tail and thread it onto a tapestry needle. For this next part, let's zoom in. We will now begin grafting our stitches. Thread the tail yarn purlwise through the first stitch on the needle and drop this stitch off the needle. Now we're going to locate our first stitch that will be used for grafting. It will be above the row with waste yarn towards the wrong side of your work. I prefer the waste yarn to be threaded through stitches that I will not be using for grafting. That way the yarn is out of my way. Thread the yarn behind the two legs or the V of the first stitch from right to left. Pull the yarn through and then find the stitch you dropped off the needle and thread the yarn through the loop from front to back, exiting the stitch on the left so it's ready to work the next stitch on your needle. Don't worry about how your grafting stitches look right now. Now we will repeat the process. Thread the yarn through the next stitch purlwise, slip it off of the needle, locate our next stitch to graft above the waste yarn, thread it behind the V, and through the stitch you dropped from front to back, exiting on the left. I always find it best to take my time with this part of the process. Okay, so let's finish that last stitch. We're going to thread it through purlwise, locate that final V, thread it behind the legs, and then through that final drop stitch from front to back, exiting on the left. Okay, now you can tighten up your stitches and make sure the I-cord looks good and get ready to weave in your tail. Sometimes you might notice a little gap in your work when grafting these two ends together. I use my tail to close this gap with whatever makes sense based on the stitch pattern. In this case, I did the duplicate stitch. Now that my grafting is all done, all I have to do is weave in my tail on the wrong side of my work. Weave in your ends however you like. Here, I am sending the yarn through the center of the I-cord and tightening this gently. If necessary, go ahead and smooth out your work. Sometimes I use a tapestry needle for this. And that's the I-cord bind off 3 ways with an invisible seam. As always, thanks for watching, and if you like this tutorial, click like and subscribe to see more content like this from me.